All right, I think we should get started.
Yeah, I want to say that was about 30 seconds. Yeah, I want to
All
say
right,
let's go. Let's
stop
go.
the clock. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Good morning slash good afternoon, depending on exactly where you are. Welcome to this ticket webinar, Revving Up ITSM with OpenAI. Fantastic to have you with us today. My name is Jeff. I look after our success team here. You may recognize me from interaction through a support ticket, or you may have discussed professional services with me at some point. My team's just launched a new series of videos and sessions called Ticket Training Tuesdays. We just had our second one earlier on today. So you may know me from that as well. And if you don't know me from any of that, then come get to know me. My team can help you in all sorts of ways through support tickets, technical support, kind of how do I get this going type questions. We've got articles, videos, guides, training sessions, everything hopefully you need, everything we can think of that you need to help you be successful with Ticket. And joining me today is my colleague Adam.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Adam Dazaki. I'm the Director of Product Management here. I'm going to say I see a lot of familiar names in this chat because either I've spoken with you already in a meeting or on a Teams call, or you've probably also seen me at the end of every month, the last Friday of every month, on this thing called Technically Speaking, where we get all of our customers together. We go over features we've just released, we're about to release, things that are in preview, and of course, answer any and all questions you have. It's a lot more free form, open discussion, kind of just see where the conversation goes. So hey again, I'm excited to I'm excited to jump into this today. I want to say we got a lot of fun stuff coming.
So yeah, we're gonna get going here. If you've got questions, please use the Q&A box as you go through. We will get to those at the end of the presentation. So please put them in as you think of them, so you don't forget and they don't get lost. And if you don't want your name published along with your question, that's fine. Just sort of put that within your question, and we won't actually publish that one. We'll just answer it verbally, so get you the answer. That's absolutely fine. Whatever you need. All right, so this is what we're going to cover today. And good news, we've already ticked one off. So great work, everybody. Introductions done. In a minute, Adam's going to take us all the way back and we're going to look at Ticket's beginnings, where we came from, and then we're going to roll through with recent releases and then into the future with what's coming next, all culminating in what I think is going to be a really exciting demo towards the end.
Yeah, and what everyone's here for. Like I get it. I do.
Yeah, well, you got to wait to the end if you want to see that. Obviously, we save the best till last.
So for starters, I want to start with a little bit of Ticket's history, whether you've been with us since the very beginning or you've recently joined us on our journey of building building Ticket for Microsoft 365 and Teams. I actually want to talk about where we started, what Ticket originally was. Like Jeff said, I want to get to kind of our larger, chunkier roadmap items that we're looking at for the rest of this year. And then also, of course, I want to get to a demo. So I guess first things first is I want to start off with the obvious, or again, perhaps not obvious, based on when you joined us. When we first launched Ticket was, well, you can only deploy it to a single team. You can only assign tickets to a single user, right? There's only one assignee. Believe it or not, again, may not know this, we did not actually have an email connector when we originally launched. Again, being kind of a team-centric ticketing solution, we didn't have an email connector. But after all the calls that I was on, within, let's say, the first, I don't know, 7 hours, it was pretty clear we needed an email connector. And then also, we didn't really offer a whole lot in the way of bot customization. And we knew that Ticket Virtual Agent was going to become the means by which you could deflect tickets, but the level of customization, again, just it simply wasn't there in the beginning. However, that's changed. And I think this is probably the reality that I think most of you know now, is that you can deploy Ticket to any number of teams. It can be to really just whoever other teams you want in your organization. You can assign a ticket to any number of agents and assignees. Was we introduced affected users and collaborators. You could have multiple assignees on a ticket. And with that, then came this idea of having a multi-department picker and more of a multi-department experience. So when you're interacting with Ticket Virtual Agent or you're in the request portal, if your end users choose to go there, they can pick which team they want that ticket to go to. And best of all is that we're respecting and we continue to respect the security silos of teams. So any ticket assigned to the HR team, only HR can see. All the tickets assigned to IT, only IT can see. All the tickets assigned to accounting, only accounting can see, and so on and so forth. And again, the only exception to that is if you yourself was, well, a member of all of those teams. And so that's what we brought about with multi-department. Need a little sip of water
here. You know what, Adam? I think that's such an important feature. Nowadays, we see a lot of our customers realizing that the success they've had with Tikit within IT, the value it's brought them, the efficiencies it's brought them, that applies to lots of other departments, and they're starting to deploy. We see more and more customers deploying Tikit into another department, another team, that organization that's having exactly the same challenges, got very similar requirements around the need for a ticketing system, and that kind of seeing that model fit elsewhere. Yeah, it's exciting to see. We see a lot of it. HR is probably number one, sort of second department we see. In fact, it's even it's first department for some customers, but it's certainly our number one second team to deploy Tikit to. After that, we see a lot of sort of accounts and office management, buildings management sort of thing as well. But all these teams have those same challenges, so it's great to see customers deploying that multi-department experience.
Yeah, and I think what's it kind of segues into the next point here, right, is that of those multi-department experiences, what we found to be the case, and I think what is the case actually for a lot of different teams across the organization, is this idea of like working out of a shared mailbox, right? That seems to be rather common. And so again, with our email connector, you can actually attach now to not just one inbox, right, which originally was just the original team that you deployed Tikit to. You can actually now deploy to all of the teams that you've configured inside a ticket, right? So you can have an HR inbox, you can have a facilities inbox, you can have that accounting inbox. And again, if it's a shared mailbox, you're not having to license that mailbox, which is obviously great and is a cost savings, but again, let you bring more teams into Tikit and centralize it in teams.
Yeah, again, that just works great with that multi-department story, because those are departments, typically HR, accounts on, they're working right now in a shared mailbox. They've got those challenges. They can't assign work. They can't manage queues and SLAs against that. It's just email.
Yep.
Bringing it into Tikit is a real seamless kind of change to the business, to the organization. It's the same experience. Just email that same shared mailbox you've always emailed. Nothing's changed there. Now you log a ticket, and now that secondary team, HR, accounts, can manage that work as tickets rather than as email. So it's a really kind of nice transition for those other departments.
Yeah, and yes, I mean, right, centralizing this experience in teams is exactly what we want. We want multiple departments to be able to experience and have a ticketing solution that's central to the organization. And part of that centralization comes in the form of Ticket Virtual Agent. There is one bot, one experience that all of the users throughout your organization can interact with to get help, to create tickets, obviously to those multiple departments, but then also receive deflection based on knowledge that maybe one or many departments have actually trained up Tickets AI on. And in addition to that is also things like, well, now you can do a fair amount of customization with Ticket Virtual Agent. Ticket Virtual Agent supports custom branding, custom iconography. You can rename it if you don't want to call it Ticket Virtual Agent. There's now a host of messages that you can customize in that Ticket Virtual Agent experience. And most recently, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, within this last month, right, the last 18, 17 days here, is support for Ticket Virtual Agent being able to serve multiple responses, right? So if you interact with it, it can now return a mix of knowledge articles and templates, and then the requester can decide, which, path they want to interact with and go down. And then second to that is the ability to customize the first experience everyone has with ticket virtualization. Before any AI has been trained up, you can now customize the help card that arrives the ticket virtual agent inside of bot configuration over in the agent portal.
I think once again,
I got water.
Yeah, it's been a long day for some people. That bot customization, once again, it's just been something we've seen customers really kind of embrace. Seen a lot of fun with that, actually. I really enjoy that when customers have a little bit of fun with it, give that bot like an identity, whether it be kind of named alongside their organization or it's kind of got a human name,
Yep.
Eric.
I've seen that several times.
It's a lot of fun. We just had last month our Tikit ITSM awards, and one of the categories was the kind of best customization of the bot, the best sort of name of a bot. And yeah, we really enjoyed seeing those great submissions to that. Some of you customers having a lot of fun with that, and it brings us a lot of joy and energy. So that's always great to see.
And I guess really with all that said, right, why am I revisiting all of this? So the reason I'm revisiting it is because all of this wouldn't have happened if it was not for the fact that we have customers, prospects such as yourselves that we interact with, that we talk to, that we have calls with, that leave, your ideas on the roadmap, which is, again, roadmap.tikit.ai, because you're driving really a lot of this innovation that's happening inside of Tikit. Like Tikit is what it is because of everything we hear from you, and not just everything we hear from you and everything we see on the roadmap, but also everything certainly I hear from our customer success team, which happens to be, this other gentleman on the call here, Jeff.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for their feedback. It's important to us. We love it. I love this. I love this slide. I love this message. Me and Adam are both very passionate about this, and this kind of one sentence kind of highlights why. It's where our two roles kind of come together, and we get to work together, combining kind of product roadmap, Adam's whole thing with customer feedback, which is my space. And yeah, we really value that customer feedback. Obviously, we prefer it when it's positive. We love to hear that, but we know that sometimes it's not, and we need that. We need to hear that just as much. We don't love to hear it, but we know we need to hear it, and we are grateful for it as well. So we value all feedback, and we need it because it drives this product. It drives this roadmap.
So again, if you have questions, throw them, raise them in the Q&A. Reach out to us. Like, we absolutely want to talk to you. Okay, sorry, Jeff. Please
yeah,
continue.
No, thank you. As I say, we're both very passionate about this. So thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to keep us moving. We've got to come from the past. Now we're going to kind of roll up in the very recent past, and we're going to look at recent releases. By recent, we're talking 2024. So these 5 big features have all come out in the last 6 months. It's been a busy time for us. It's been great to get these all done, all based on your feedback, as we've been talking about. And these, I think, are in release order, in chronological order. We did some work on the file attachment experience, which was great. We did some work on the Power Automate connector. Now, we've had a Power Automate connector in the product for some time now, but this year we did a big kind of push on that, big new release with lots of new features all around life cycles. Notification Center came out this year. So you can really do some work around custom notifications. And then these two, Adam already mentioned, very fresh, very new, very exciting, multiple responses from the bot, and help card customization. We're going to go through these in a bit more detail and see what's what. If any of these are new to you, then where have you been? But also get diving into your own Tikit instances and have a play. Starting with file attachment experience. So conversational ticketing is a term that we love. It's a kind of concept we've been enjoying for a while. Keeping the conversation at the heart of the ticket. On our Tikit web UI, the kind of conversation thread is right in the middle of the screen there. And attachments should be no different. So in the new file attachment experience, when you drag and drop to upload an attachment, it now goes alongside a comment to be part of that conversation. And this means two things really in terms of the experience for your users. First of all, when that attachment is then presented to that user, whether it be in the web or in Teams, it's within the context of the conversation, in the kind of flow of that back and forth conversation. So you can see where it's relevant. Really helpful for a user to kind of see the message that goes with that attachment. It's not off to the side somewhere by itself. It's within inline in the thread. Particularly great if you're an escalation engineer and you get things passed to you. It's already been kind of back and forth a bit, and it's got 5 log files attached and a couple of screenshots, and you're like, well, what do all these mean? Which order are they in? Well, now you can see them in line in the conversation, so you can kind of see the journey that user's already been on, that ticket's already been on, and follow it through, and then you know where you're at. So that's really cool to see that experience. The second thing that it means is that attachments can be private because they are now tied to comments, and comments can be marked as an internal comment that's not available to end users, only visible to other agents, collaborators on that ticket. So if you wanted to send another agent a config file or maybe like an internal user guide that's not relevant, not appropriate to share to your end user, then you can do that, and it respects that that private flag on the comment as it appears in line. Okay, next up, the Power Automate updates. Adam and I, we're very excited about this. We love Power Automate.
Just a little bit. Just a little excited.
It opens up, the rest of the world. It opens up Tikit to the rest of possibilities. So it's very exciting to see. We released an update to the connector, which gives you a lot more control around managing tickets and the life cycle of tickets and the approvals and tasks within them. In this example we've got here, I'm now kicking off a flow, not upon the creation of a ticket like we might have to do previously. Now it's only getting kicked off when we get to a certain point in the life cycle. When we get to the implementation phase, we've done all the approvals already, that's been taken care of, and only then when we get down to the next phase of implementation do we kick off this flow. And in this case, it's an onboarding life cycle. So throughout this flow, we're able to get the ticket, we're able to get the custom form answers that the original end user inputted right at the start of the process into the form. We can take those values like first name, last name, department, create the entry ID to create that user account for that new user on being onboarded, send the password in this case, and finally to close the loop, we actually update that Power Automate task in the life cycle, and that allows the life cycle to progress onto the next phase and continue downstream of whatever's coming next in that life cycle. So it's a kind of full end-to-end automation of a particular segment of that life cycle. It's possible now with Power Automate.
But because you can actually set and control the status of the PA task inside of Tikit, it does mean, and I know I said this before, but I think it's worth reiterating, right, is that means that your transition logic, should you implement it, is respected, right? So you can imagine canceling, failing, right, succeeding, right? Like all of those are things you could then use in the transition logic based on the status of the PA task that you set in here. And a couple other things is like, around Power Automate, something that has been on the roadmap and that we're aware of and we're starting to take steps towards is starting to provide maybe some more out-of-box Power Automate templates. So instead of having to build several of these items from scratch, really just having to be able to one-click deploy and then just configure a few things. And we know like examples of this would be things like I want to add I want to add the requesters manager as the approver of the first approval in the first phase of work on a lifecycle. Or I want to do it based on like maybe how a custom form was answered. I want to respect or change based on some logic that I have in that flow based on the inputs of the ticket. But again, this also carries forward into something like if you're more aligned with Azure and more of like an Azure administrator role, you could imagine that you could say like anytime a Azure alert or security event goes off, I want to create a ticket in Tikit. And if you don't want to use Power Automate, you don't have to, because you can also use Tikit's Power Automate connector inside of Logic Apps. So if you'd rather maintain all of your flows inside of Logic Apps, inside of resource groups and everything inside of Azure, you could do that as well. And again, no less in response to like a security event or an Azure alert. You could fire an Azure automation runbook, right? There's a lot of possibilities there. Or you could have like a change request, right? Where you say every time I submit a change request that has a certain type of category, I want to randomly select several agents to be the reviewers of an approval, and so they can decide like, this is my peer review, and it's always going to be different. It's always going to change hands, so it's always fresh, and my template is never stale, so to speak, right? I'm always going to keep employees and my fellow peers engaged in that change request process. And then last, I mean, look, I have a feeling I'm the only one doing this. I feel like Jeff already knows what I'm going to say based on like the look on his face, right? But like things that I've done, you could do something like, if a ticket comes in that's a priority 1, I want to change the color of the light bulbs in my house, right? Or I want to blink them or something, right? I want to change them to red, maybe based on a certain condition. All of that's doable inside of Power Automate and inside of Logic Apps.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it would be you, Adam. But I love it. I respect it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
That's fine. I would encourage others to.
Yeah, I was say if anybody else has configured Power Automate up so that their office turns bright red, the lights when they get a P1, and respect, and I want to hear from you. It's awesome.
Same, yeah.
Very cool. Okay, I'm going to keep this rolling and jump into Notification Center. This change, we have allowed you to disable one or as many as you want of the out-of-box notifications. You can turn them off. Maybe there's a couple that you don't like, it's a bit too noisy, or the exact wording is not aligned to what your users need or want. You can disable those out-of-box notifications. And then, using automations, you can build custom notifications, whether they be to kind of replace those out-of-box ones with a slight tweaking of the logic or the wording, or entirely new scenarios as you see fit, as your business users are asking for. So you've got real control and flexibility here, very, very granular controls. So you're controlling the trigger for that notification, what event you want to trigger on. It could be something happening with a ticket itself, a ticket being created, or something changing on a ticket. You can be very specific about exactly what you want to trigger on what change. If a certain thing is changed to this or from that, or to this from that, very, very specific. You can trigger on SLAs changing status. You can trigger on approvals getting approved or rejected, on tasks getting started or complete. You've got a lot of control there over what would trigger your alert exactly as you need to, and then you're full filtering around the kind of conditions of that to build out exactly as you need to. And then when it comes to the notification itself, we support email and Teams notifications. And again, full control over who that's going to go to, from the kind of whole list of different people involved in a ticket, from the requester itself, from the affected users if there are any, down to obviously the assignee and collaborators, and kind of all people in between, including any static users you want to alert as well. Yeah, exactly.
Approvals, yeah.
Task workers, approvers, exactly. Yeah, so super granularity there as well. And then the actual notification itself, also fully controllable. With regards to the Teams notifications, if there's something going to an agent type role, whether it be assignee or collaborators, that's going to come from the ticket bot. And you can control that message exactly the wording you want, and drop in these properties from the ticket itself. If it's going to be something that's sort of more end user facing, it's going to go to the requester or affected users. That's going to come from the ticket virtual agent bot. But again, once again, you can control the exact look and feel and properties of the ticket that come into that message. The next job, that's 3 of those 5 new features I want to show you. The next 2, I'm actually going to jump into a quick demo and show you these for real. Bear with me, it's coming.
Gotta switch the screens. There you go.
Right.
I see it.
Hopefully you can now see Teams. Excellent. So I'm logged into Teams here with my end user, Lillian, in my fictional org Sandpit Incorporated. And I told you I enjoyed fun with renaming of the bots. I've got the SandyBot virtual agent here. And we can type, as hopefully you all know, I'm sure you all do, you can type a message. What is the Wi-Fi password? A classic phrase for a demo. I'm going to get that response from the bot. We are going to get that response from the bot. Thank you. Giving us that knowledge article with that Wi-Fi password. And that's great. And that's how tickets worked for a long time, forever. It's great. What we found is as you customers were starting to deploy more and more content, more and more knowledge articles, is they kind of got a bit close to each other. You had very similar articles, but with different responses. And it was hard to tune the bot exactly to get the right response to the user. Particularly if you had different processes that were sort of similar sounding, but you wanted to go off in different directions, different templates, different life cycles. You couldn't really guarantee what an end user is going to type, and therefore it's very hard to predict. It took a lot of prompt engineering, and it was never really possible to get it exactly right to guarantee the right response to the user. So that's where multiple responses come in. If there's not a clear one match to your to the prompt, then the bot will now respond with multiple options. So if I type I have an SAP question, then I've actually got 3 different things that are really close to that wording wise, and it returns all 3 and gives me the option as an end user to choose from. So now I've got the option to choose, oh yeah, I want to log an SAP fault, which goes to obviously the kind of incident route and to one team. I've got an access request, which would need approval and all that sort of thing. Or it could be more of a configuration request. I want a new module deployed or configured, or a new list item added into my SAP, that sort of thing. That's handled by the apps team itself. So again, it goes to all different places. So I need to know which one's correct. And giving the end user the choice is going to kind of guarantee that. They've still got the option to bail out and create a ticket manually as well. So I'm going to go ahead and choose access. We also, as a sort of little nudge, we give the user the shortcut that will get them directly there next time. So that is the top phrase for that particular knowledge article. And it's kind of telling them, if you want to get to this in a shortcut, if you put exactly that phrase in, then you're going to get there next time. If not, they can go back through the same path each time. And there's my SAP access request form as needed. If that's wrong, I can come back and choose, actually, no, I want the configuration request. Once again, I get the prompt put in for me, and ultimately I'm going to get the form there. So that's multiple responses. That's available now. You can configure that through your bot configuration settings if you need to. The final feature I want to show you was custom help card. So you can see it there in my suggestions. You can click that, you can type help. Again, the concept of typing help has been there forever. Previously, you get a static card with some sort of basic help instructions per ticket, the sort of commands you could type to the bot, sort of things you could ask it, and so on. Now you can fully customize that help card in any way you want. You can, replace that language again to suit your business language around what people can do with the bot, the kind of things they can request, and so on. which is great. Putting your own kind of business language on it is always important. But we've really elevated that experience now because while it's just language, if I actually send that off to the bot, it's not just about language. We can also add buttons onto this card to take actions and really kind of guide your users through some quick shortcuts, some key processes. So I've got like a little welcome message explaining what the bot's about. And I've got per my 3 departments. I've got a multi-department experience here. I've got some kind of top requests that are commonly asked and so on. So again, under IT, there's the Wi-Fi password. Again, clicking that will just pop it in there for me and bring back that same thing we've seen. Again, maybe I want the device request. Same process again. That's going to pop out that form for me for the new device request. So you can point to you can point to knowledge articles, you can point to templates, business process forms you've already got built out. You can do a generic kind of ticket. So here I've got submit an HR ticket. That just takes you to the generic login of a new ticket process, but it's going to respect the fact that I'm within that HR section, and it's going to pre-default my multi-department picker to HR. So it's just making that process as simple as possible for your end users, guiding them through that, showing them the sort of things that are available in a kind of catalog style, and let them guide from there onwards. All right, that's my 5 features.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. I have hopefully taken your screen. Everyone can see mine. We're back on the demo card.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Okay. So with all that said, I want to talk about what's coming next and the reason, right, why we're all here. What's up on the roadmap? What else are we looking at getting to the rest of this year? So I guess to just get right into it, I want to start in reverse. We got 4 items coming your way and that we're looking at for the remainder of this year. I'm going to start in reverse order. I'm going to start at number 4. Number 4, we are looking at bringing a much more formalized hardware asset management process directly into Tikit. Right now, there is, and we do have an Intune integration, but with hardware asset management, what we're looking at doing is being able to bring devices further into Tikit so that you can actually relate tickets to a device. You could perhaps report on those assets directly out of Power BI or Excel. And more importantly, show the relationships between users and their devices. And lastly, I know it isn't on here, but also we want to be able to support the ability to import devices from, let's say, a CSV or, of course, Intune. And again, manage their asset lifecycle directly inside of Tikit. Number 3, we are looking at bringing even more form customization into Tikit. So something we've heard from many of you on this call, something we've heard on Technically Speaking, something we experience regularly, and it's a host of reasons why this is going to be coming, is we need more form customization. For example, right now we have the multi-department picker, which lets requesters decide which team, which department that ticket that they're about to create should go to. But wouldn't it be great if you could say, I want to show my requesters maybe a few of the categories, not all maybe 10 or 20 that I have, but maybe 3 that I have, or maybe a handful of groups. I want to be able to let them select tags or affected users on that ticket they're about to create. And more importantly, and I think this is actually what's more importantly from what we've heard, is the ability to conditionally show and hide inputs based on selections that you make within that form. So, for example, if you were filling out, let's say, an onboarding request, and you were to say, it's a new hire, here's their first name, their last name, their job title, but are they part-time or full-time? Because if they're part-time, maybe they don't have access to select, hardware requests. They don't have the ability to request new hardware. But if they're a full-time employee, I want to show a full hardware selection of things they can choose from. Like they should be able to choose if they want a cell phone. They should be able to choose if they need to get a new laptop. So again, conditionally show and hide fields based on previous inputs that are set on those forms. And again, that's something that we want to make sure makes its way into Tikit Virtual Agent as well as the request portal. Item number 2, and this is one that is on the roadmap we are aware of, and it's one that is actually kind of around the corner, and that is updates to our knowledge base. More just kind of broad updates to the knowledge base around the ability to set the status of knowledge articles, the ability to define if a knowledge article is for an agent or it's for your requesters, and then of course, who's the last person to modify that knowledge article, right? When's the last time, what's the last date time they did it, and who actually modified that article? And something I actually want to highlight with the status is this is a common request that we've heard, and it's one that makes sense because as you're building out your knowledge base, you may not be finished, right? You may want to come back. You may want to be an edit or review, but you don't want that draft or in review knowledge article to be served via Tikit Virtual Agent. That's what status is going to be able to grant you, is the ability to control when that article is actually being served through the deflection process. And the other thing that I should also add here is that, again, it's not on the list, but it is something that we are going to be wrapping into KB updates, is we're also looking at improving the training times and save times of knowledge articles as you're editing them. We don't want you to wait any longer than you absolutely have to, and we want to speed that process up.
I think that review process.
So great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say that review process. I've heard that from customers. I think that's going to be really helpful to people. Your knowledge is only valuable if it's correct and up to date. And given the statuses, given a last modified date and then a last modified user, that's going to allow you to build out a regular, maybe 6 monthly, yearly review of all your articles. So if it's not been updated in a year, we're going to go through it. We're going to make sure it's still accurate. Hopefully it is, and it's not a heavy lift, but you actually want to read it through, check it's still good, check it's still adding value, and then you can kind of sort of sign off again for another year, rather than just, it's not set and forget, unfortunately. These things need to be kind of fed and watered to make sure it's accurate, because if your bot is serving up stuff that's incorrect, that's not doing the job that it's supposed to do, which is to deflect and save agent time.
Yeah. So, item number 1.
Oh, I wonder what it's going to be.
Let's get to item number 1.
I cannot think. Hey, here we go. So it would not be a webinar in 2024 without a quote about AI thrown up on the screen at some point. So we had to get this in. You've all seen a million of these. I'm sure you have. It's everywhere. AI is center square on the buzzword bingo board right now, and everyone's talking about it, and rightly so, because it is important. It is game-changing technology. We all need to understand it, get on board with it. It's not going away, and we can't just ignore it. It's about how do we use it, how do we use it responsibly, how do we use it safely. This quote.
Go ahead. No, sorry.
I was going to say this quote. Is about how many CIOs are putting it as their number one priority in terms of investment, pretty high. And that's something that we're obviously hearing as well from our customer bases. We want to invest in it. We understand. We want to know what to do with it and how it can serve us, but we need to also make sure we're doing it safely, controlling our data, understanding what's going where and who's got access to what. And that is a big concern of everybody's.
So with that said, if we're going to integrate AI further, we're going to add more AI into Tikit, we want to make sure that we do this in a meaningful, responsible, and secure fashion. So that's why today we are announcing that we're going to be integrating with OpenAI as it exists on Microsoft Azure. And I will repeat that as it bears repeating. We're going to be integrating with OpenAI as it exists on Microsoft Azure. Now, the importance of this is a handful of reasons, but I would say the leading one is that it means that your data stays with you. Any documentation you choose to upload stays with you. We do not see it. We do not host it. We do not maintain it. We have no way of viewing it. You can deploy OpenAI in your Azure environment, in your Azure tenant, upload documentation to it, and we will now, through Tikit Virtual Agent, respect the documentation that you upload in that OpenAI instance, which means Tikit Virtual Agent is now capable of serving generative responses. And it's going to do that when it does not have a knowledge article currently written. So I want to be clear here that this is going to respect all of your knowledge base entries that you have in Tikit today and into the future. And it's only when there is not a configured knowledge article is that it's going to fall back. And well, I guess what I want to do, and I know I stopped sharing, but it's because I want to switch screens because I want to jump into a demo of what this looks like, because I know that's what we want to see.
That's what we came for. Let's be honest.
Assuming you can see my screen here. Excellent. Jeff,
Yep,
I think you're nodding.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I want to start with actually, so I'm in my environment, I'm in my knowledge base, and for the sake of argument, I am going to refresh this page just so you can all see there's no smoke and mirrors happening, and that I genuinely have 2 articles in my knowledge base. So the 2 articles I have are going to serve either a onboarding template or the public Wi-Fi password. And if I go over to Tikit Virtual Agent, right, and I were to say, new employee, and I send that over, Tikit Virtual Agent is going to respond back to me with a simple new hire form, right? What's their first name? What's their last name? What's their job title? And same thing if I were to say, like, what's the Wi-Fi? I would get that response. Again, just like you expect and experience today in Tikit. Except I want to ask a different question. I want to ask, what's the PTO policy? Now, again, this is something that clearly does not exist in my knowledge base. TBA is going to think on this for a bit, and then it is going to give me a generative AI-based response using my OpenAI instance on Microsoft Azure. So, again, definitely not in my knowledge base. But I did get this response. And what's more is I actually got a citation of where this answer was formed from. So I uploaded an employee handbook into my OpenAI instance, right? So, again, in this multi-department scenario of IT and HR, you can imagine all sorts of different types of documentation getting uploaded. And then I am served a generative response directly through Tikit Virtual Agent. And again, just like I have a Tikit Virtual Agent today, I can say, was this answer helpful? Yes or no. And if, well, it was helpful, I'm going to create and mark this as a deflected ticket. Again, I'll be able to see and visualize that ROI for reporting. If it wasn't helpful, I'm going to create a brand new ticket. Now, that said, I guess the thing I want to show you next is like, okay, so what does this look like in terms of like, where is this configured? How is this configured? What does it look like inside of Microsoft Azure? So the other thing that is going to be part of this update is that we'll have a new updated section inside of our settings called Azure AI, where you will be able to configure your Azure OpenAI instance and respective settings and deployments. So you can see that's exactly what I've done here, right? This is where I provide my URLs, my API keys, and how we connect back to, again, OpenAI within your respective Azure environment. But again, like, okay, but where does it live though? Or how can I see this? How do I know it's in Microsoft Azure? So I'm going to minimize my screen, and hopefully you should now see the Azure portal. And I'm assuming, Jeff, I'm going by your nod, yes or no?
Yeah.
So inside of the Microsoft Azure portal, you can see that I have a resource group called Artificial Intelligence, and I have 3 resources inside of it. I have the 3 resources that I need to get OpenAI running and integrated with Tikit. I have a storage account, which is going to hold all the documentation I upload. I have the Azure Search Service that is going to scrub and prepare that documentation for OpenAI. And then I have my OpenAI service, again, directly in Azure. And if I go into that page, again, here's OpenAI on Azure. So this is in my tenant, my documents, my information, everything stays with me. Okay.
Take a breath.
I know, yeah, I'm very excited. I know there's a lot to go through there with. So that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to let me go back to current slide. Move this. All right. So that said, I want to thank everybody for attending. But if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We want to hear from you. Jeff and I would like to hear from you. For good, for bad, for better, worse, whatever it is, we want feedback. We are very interested in talking to you, whether it be about any of the features that we've gone over today, but of course the OpenAI features too, right? If you're interested to know and want to know more about this, right, we're more than willing to talk. When we actually get closer to publishing and releasing this OpenAI integration, we are going to have a full comprehensive walkthrough about how you can configure it in your Azure tenant. So we're really excited to get this out. But with that said, I know we got some time left. I'm going to go to Q&A. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
So I just want to jump in and again add my thanks everyone for joining and for your participation today. Fantastic to have you with us. Yeah, we're going to hang out and take some questions. I think there's a few been asked in Q&A. So anything else, get it in there now. But just wanted to add my thanks. And if you want to reach out to us directly, we've got the help at Tikit.ai on the screen there. That's the best email address. It's easy to remember. It's easy to spell. That's our global help team. They can then point you in direction of myself or Adam as appropriate. So reach out there and they'll get you to the right place for any question, whether it be about something you've seen today or anything else. Please get in touch.
First question I see from Aaron. Will it show which agent entered the KB article? Yes, that's the plan. So obviously feel free to come off of, I don't know if you can come off of mute or maybe you need to reply. I'm presumably you want to know the distinction between who created it and who last modified it, because they could easily be two different people, I'm guessing. All right, next question. Sorry, I missed this. When will the conditional form customization feature be available? So we don't have an exact date for that. We are looking to deliver that this year. So with the time we have left, that's when we want to get that out. That said, if you have some specific requirements, something you'd like to talk about, it would be great to get in touch with you. Like, I wouldn't mind talking more about, some of the forms you're trying to build. So I might reach out to you. Back to.
Did you see one from multiple responses one, Adam?
Yeah. Will multiple responses be coming to the response sent by the email connector? At this time, we don't have a plan for that. However, it's not to say that we are not going to do it. I might actually have to follow up with you, because I feel like I'm about to potentially trigger this huge back and forth. So let me. I'm sharing my screen, so I can't hang on. I can do this. I still have a pen and paper. I can still make this work. Alexis and Craig. All right.
There's a question here I'm not going to publish, but someone has asked, when will the OpenAI stuff be available, Adam? So another one for you. Sorry.
That's a perfectly relevant question.
I'm thinking it myself.
So OpenAI, as well as the KB updates, we are looking at releasing in approximately a month-ish time. We're probably about a month or so. We're a month out. We're about a month out from. I don't want to say month-ish, and then that means something. No, about a month away.
And that's available to everyone, Adam?
That'll be available on the ITSM plan. Let's see what else. Okay. Well, this is one I suspected was going to be coming. How much is the OpenAI integration going to cost? Because so if you're hosting it in your Azure tenant, right, it means that you are going to be paying for that consumption. It's a great question, and it's one that we've been working on estimating. I think I have an approximate idea. So of the resources that I deployed in Azure to get that working, and then again get it working with Tikit, Azure Search Service at its lowest tier right now is approximately I think $72, $73 a month, right, just for the Azure Search Service. But the OpenAI integration, or the OpenAI instance, you should probably estimate in the ballpark of like a couple cents per interaction. And again, it's also worth adding that that's assuming that you're always going to be actually hitting and engaging OpenAI. Right? If you don't have a knowledge article set up for TVA to respond with, then we'll fall back to OpenAI. And when we do, that's when you actually get, hit with an Azure consumption charge, which again, couple cents per interaction. So all things considered, very affordable.
And I think those are pay-as-you-go prices, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a large org and you've got special deals with Microsoft, you're going to be paying a little bit less or a lot bit less, depending on how big you are.
Certainly possible, right? Yeah. I'm going off of the prices that we have available to us. For certainly, I have in my own development tenant what Microsoft advertises.
Yeah, anyone who's getting education or non-profit prices, I imagine there'll be nice discounts there as well. And sorry, Adam, one follow-up to that, I'm just going to ask to make sure it's clear. Is there an additional cost to Tikit for that OpenAI integration?
No, there is not. Okay, that was Craig. This is starting to come up more because this came up actually. So the question I just published: when will there be an option for the ticket to display an indicator when there's a response or a change, so that administrators know when they need to review the ticket again? The short answer is, Matthew, I want to follow up with you. I've actually been having this conversation. I had it last month on Technically Speaking. I had it with a couple people as a follow-up from Technically Speaking, and I wouldn't mind reaching out to you to discuss kind of what you'd want that feature to be. Again, I have a pretty good idea, I think, of what it should be, and I think we know what it should be, but I want to make sure we get that nailed down. That said, I don't believe there's a roadmap item for it, but I do want to point out that it is not something we are ignoring or unaware of. That this is starting to actually come up more frequently. So I'm going to make a note of this, and you can always, like Jeff said, follow up with help@tikit.ai, or feel free to join Technically Speaking at the end of the month, right? Craig, I'll make sure that you actually get added, or Jeff for Ticket Training Tuesdays.
Ticket Training Tuesdays, yeah. Sign up via there's links in the newsletter. I think there's emails around Ticket Training Tuesdays. Reach out to help at Tikit.ai. We'll get you signed up for Training Tuesdays, and join us every week for a little training session about one feature or other.
All right.
Okay, I think we're about there.
Yeah,
thanks to everyone for joining.
We won't
really
keep anyone.
Great to see you all.
All right, take care, everyone. We'll talk to you.
All right, bye.